Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Dungeons and Dopamine. Ta-da! Hi, this is episode 62 of Dungeons and Dopamine. I'm Bre.
I'm Jess.
And this is episode 62 of Dungeons and Dopamine.
I'm Bre. I'm Jess. And this is episode 62.
The whole episode. It's just us repeating that for an hour.
Nightmare.
And then at the end we do our outro as normal.
I wonder how long it would take before we were like, we can't do this anymore. I'd have to just cut it and then
repeat
it several times.
Easiest episode ever.
I loved that episode. That would be a funny April Fool's episode.
It would be.
So, you're not going to believe this. I saw a thing on TikTok. Actually, it's not really a specific thing. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm just going right into it today, by the way. This is a freight train heading into Kindness Town.
That sounds great.
Toot toot. I'm so sorry. I feel like it has been exceptionally negative lately. Just everything.
Same. Like, this month has been rough.
Yes, and I feel it. And I'm also very, very tired, so that I'm probably feeling a little more sensitive about things, or I'm judging things maybe a little harsher than I really should.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that my TikToks were just a little more glum and a little more gloomy and like gloom and doom or judgmental of like...
Well, we talked about the icks earlier.
Yes. So judging people and judging things that people are doing. And there's a really big trend, and there's a part of me that understands it, but there's a big trend right now of people remodeling houses that are old and have a ton of character into houses that they love, but for a lot of people feel like they're losing a lot of the character and such. And I understand that, but I've seen so many people online ripping these people apart for that. And it's just,
everything.
For one, it doesn't affect your life. Like, do you live next door to them people and they painted their house all black or all white or painted the brick? Apparently, painting brick is like a cardinal sin now.
I thought we were into that.
No, apparently we're not allowed to like it now.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently it's an ick. But basically, I'm just getting a lot of this kind of stuff. And it's probably because I watched one day and went, oh, I don't really like that either, or whatever. Or I watched it all the way through before deciding I didn't care for it. Or I watched it all the way through to pass my own judgments and be a jerk about it. But I also noticed that as I watch these things, like when I set my phone down and go start talking to my family, I'm cranky.
Mm-hmm.
It really affects how I feel as a person. Or I'll be on TikTok for a little bit and then I'll go to Facebook and then I start judging people.
Facebook is the worst for me. I feel like Facebook has been really negative lately too, and
Yes.
I get stuck on, like, I'll read an innocuous post that really doesn't concern me at all, but there's like 30 comments and I'm like, oh, what are these comments? And then I get stuck listening to people I don't know or care about argue about things I don't care about.
Yes.
And I get through with it and I'm like, why did I do that? Why
Yep.
did I waste 5 minutes of my life listening to strangers argue on the internet?
And why am I pumped up about like, why is my adrenaline flowing in
Right.
a bad way about it?
Why do I suddenly care about this issue that isn't even in my state?
Exactly. Or that I've never cared about, or doesn't affect me, or, you know, don't get me wrong, some things that don't affect you, like maybe racism, because we are white women, doesn't affect us, but it matters. But someone in my neighborhood even painting brick does not affect my life.
At all.
It doesn't matter. And so I decided to come in out of like left field today and talk about kindness. And it's something that I'm not just like trying to preach to everybody who's listening. I also need to actively take some of this advice and do better. And I want to change things a little bit. I want to be kind. I want to be kinder. One way I'm going to start this is by being kinder to myself.
I like that plan.
I know that a lot of unkind things come from being like jealous or feeling like someone is better than you.
Mm-hmm.
So I beat myself down a lot. Like, I'm really rough on myself, and I need to stop because I've got some really cool stuff going on. I've got some really cool
You are handling
stuff.
life like a boss. You have had chaos in your house for a year now.
It's been insane.
And you are still managing.
And it's cool. And I installed, like, I was patting myself on the back recently because I installed 2 bedrooms of laminate flooring almost by myself.
Which is incredible.
Yes, and that's such a cool thing, and how many people can say that? And I'm not just trying to brag, but I am just pointing out that...
You can brag about that. It's okay.
My floor looks super great.
It does.
So I don't need to go on TikTok and look at someone whose floor... Maybe I don't like their style, or maybe I love it and I'm super jealous that they were able to afford to put brand new wood in their living room. And that's why I'm trying to drag them down by being unkind. So I'm going to step up, first thing first, and I'm going to start being kind to myself. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is I'm going to say, it sounds super stupid, it sounds really hokey, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to go in the bathroom and look in the mirror and tell myself something nice about myself.
Do you know what's written on my mirror upstairs?
What?
It says...
What?
What? Tell me now. It says, my own best friend. But I had read somebody's post somewhere about how much grace we give our best friends.
Yes.
That we don't give our... Like, if you had texted me today and been like, I really don't feel good, I'm too stressed out, I can't record, I know it's going to cause issues for us, but we'll have to figure it out. I can't do it today. I would have been like, oh my gosh, I understand. I hope you're okay. Is there anything I can do to help? But if I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I just really don't feel like doing it today, my brain is like, what is wrong with you?
You're a failure. You're lazy. How dare you?
You can do this. You need to try harder.
Absolutely. Or if you... if your best friend, if your best friend gained some weight, hi, you've never said a word to me about it.
No.
Ever. But if you gained a little weight or your pants were a little tight, you'd kick your own butt about it.
How could I let this happen?
You're not trying to hurt anybody else by being mad at yourself, but yeah, you're saying I didn't work hard enough. I'm too lazy. I didn't eat healthy. Why did I eat fast food twice
all
last
I do
week?
is mess up.
Yes.
And on the reverse end of that, it can also be an encouragement. Again, I would never say anything rude to you. But if you came to me and you were like, hey, I think I want to go back to school to be a nurse.
I thought you were going to go with baker for some reason, but I mean, like, what? Nurse works too.
I would be like, hell yeah, go for it. How can I help? Like,
yes.
We can study in between recording sessions, or all of your next podcast topics could be about the human body, or
exactly.
But when I'm like, oh, I should try to, do something, I'm like, oh, I'd never be able to do that, or that would be too hard, and stuff I would never say
to
or think about
or
my best friend.
Yeah.
I talk to myself that way all the time.
I think that a lot of ugliness stems from jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that I'm being kind to myself, and that's where I'm starting.
I love it.
And of course, that's not where it's going to end. I am also going to...
I'm going to be nice to myself.
Just only me.
And stop being nice to others.
You know what, Bre? Your podcast is stupid.
All of my topics are great, and yours are awful.
I found several articles, and just wanted to talk about some of the ways to be kind to yourself, and some of the benefits of being kind to yourself. And first, I can start by saying a very long time ago, I had gone to see a psychologist, and that is where I got the positive affirmations from. I did not understand at the time, despite being an adult, why I was trying to be nice to myself, and found it more frustrating than helpful. Now I understand, and now I think I'm just ready for it. At the time, maybe I needed something different, and she wasn't providing that for me. Not trying to put any blame on her, but...
You're like, I'm way far past just needing to be nice to myself, lady.
Bottom of this ladder.
I'm gonna need
at the middle.
Some more help here.
You are going to need to give me a lot of balloons to get myself where you are. Helium balloons. Up. Anyway. I like up. We know self-kindness is being kind, being forgiving to yourself, giving yourself the grace to make mistakes. Think about, maybe displace yourself from that moment and think to yourself, if my best friend did this, what would I do? How would I help?
And are the consequences really as bad as you think they are?
Exactly.
Or have you overblown it in your brain?
Exactly.
Like again, if or even so if it's a work thing.
Yeah.
I try to, okay, I feel bad about this mistake I made, but if somebody else made that mistake, would I be looking at them like, oh my gosh, you're so stupid, how could you do that, you ruined everything? No, I'd be like, okay, how do we fix it? Like, here's all we have to do, step. There we go.
Let's look at the big picture here. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. I found an article, it's actually from Calm, which I believe is an app you can use to like center and do breathing exercises and things like that. But one of the things they talk about when you're being kind to yourself is recognizing your own worth. Like, recognize what you're bringing to the table. I know so many people with such cool things. Like, that's amazing. I know I can install a laminate floor. It's such a silly thing, but I did it.
Yeah.
And I did it almost by myself. Ryan helped me with some of the cuts. But
how dare you?
I know, right? I actually used the saw to cut it myself. In previous times, I only had to use a razor knife because of the product I was cutting. And saws set off my ADHD
overstimulation.
Noise issues. Mm-hmm. So I popped in some earplugs and a headphone and installed my own floor. I brought that to the table. That's so cool.
That is really cool.
And that was determination and a physical ability to do that, and some knowledge. I mean, I had the knowledge to do it. I did that. That's so cool. I know people who make me laugh all the time, Katie.
Every day, all the time.
I know people who would give their shirt off their back for me. Those are things that are your worth, and that's...
Great artists. We have friends that are beautiful artists, whether it's visual art or written word or singing or
acting.
Everything. We know some very talented people. We are very talented people.
Yes.
We have a podcast.
That's right. We've never
been
missed
going
a
on
week
for
of it.
over a year.
62 episodes?
Yeah. And 2 ADHD people that didn't miss a single episode for over a year is gotta be a record.
Yep. I personally learned editing for this.
Yeah.
I now officially could put that on a resume that I've done audio editing. I have a lot to offer, and it's really important to remember that. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine that you do too. I know you do.
But it is hard to remember.
I imagine that you do too. I'm looking at my mic.
All of you.
So
if you don't know your worth, or you need someone to tell you good things about yourself, and you do actually know both of us,
let us know.
Let us know. I'll tell you all the good things
I
about
will
you.
Tell you amazing things about yourself just by looking at your Facebook profile.
Even if we don't know you that well, I'm sure spending 3 minutes with you, I could figure out a list of 10 things that I like about you.
Your hair is beautiful. I bet your adorable dog loves you so much. In that picture, he's looking at you with the biggest, most adoring puppy dog eyes.
I bet you are irreplaceable at your job.
Yes.
They need you.
Yeah, there's so much. And I don't care if you nitpick down to the nittiest, grittiest part of your life, or if you blew up a giant beach ball in one breath 72 years ago. You did that. That's awesome. So cool. That was the most obscure thing I could think of. I don't know where it came from.
I'm really impressed that it came up off the top of your head, because that would be impressive. Even if it was 72 years ago.
Exactly.
Even better if it was 72 years ago, because that would mean you were older now, and
rock on.
So you're living.
One other aspect that a lot of us don't think about when we're trying to talk about like self-kindness is taking care of ourselves and I work in a field with social workers, and there's a lot of self-care talk. Mm-hmm. None of them do it. No. They all talk about it and tell everyone else to do it, but they won't stop and do it.
Nope.
Because they're busy. And they're making sure they take care of everyone else, but it can and does lead to burning out. It can and does lead to you getting hurt. And I personally, I know last week we recorded, and they aren't going to hear this for weeks, but I was getting ready for a party. And
a big party.
I'm getting construction done, and my house is kind of crazy sometimes. We worked our butts off the week before the party. We had the party. Every single time we have that party, it falls on a Saturday. The Sunday after is reserved for nothing.
Good.
We don't do anything. This year we played video games all day.
Yay.
And it was amazing. It's very important to take care of yourself physically. And
that's not just, hey, I took a shower today.
No, exactly.
You have to, number one, you have to realize what you need. Mm-hmm. Because that can be different for everybody. Some people need quiet, calm, or some people, like my husband, needs loud music sometimes. Whatever you need, make sure it rejuvenates you.
Exactly. Yes, I love it. And then, of course, positive self-talk, which is kind of what I'm going to be doing soon here, to every morning giving myself a compliment.
And that's probably the hardest one for me too. Not only because maybe especially as women, we're taught to be humble.
Right.
We're told not to brag. So changing that mind thought and being able to like tell myself nice things about myself is hard.
Yeah.
But also the hokey feeling, like, okay, here I go. Look at me. I'm doing great things today. And you feel kind of silly about it, but it works. We have the research knowing that it works.
So speaking of that, let's kind of recap, because I want to talk a little bit about the differences between being like nice and being kind to other people. But let's remember the benefits.
Yes.
Like, let's go over the benefits, because there are some incredible benefits that are actually kind of self-care benefits in themselves by being kind to others.
Yes. And I think my favorite part of my Helper's High, Kindness Highs episode was the science that shows that our brain physically reacts to us being kind,
and
us doing kind things. Yes, and so I have it highlighted. Researcher Alan Lux studied over 3,000 Americans involved in volunteer services and found that the feeling lasted several weeks. Interestingly, the euphoric sensation returned when individuals simply remembered the action.
And it's amazing.
And of course, in that episode, I was comparing it to drugs because it was Helper's Highs.
Right.
Or even Runner's Highs.
Yes.
Runner's Highs, drug highs, you need that hit to be able to get that high. So you need to intake that drug. You have to actually go exercise or whatever to get that euphoric feeling. But when you're being kind, it comes back to you just by remembering what you did that was kind. Biochemical analysis revealed that the high is accompanied by positive changes in the body's immune function and lower levels of stress hormones. So being kind, whether it's to yourself or others, can actually physically make you healthier.
Which is literally incredible, and also goes along with taking care of yourself. Like, being kind to people can literally make you healthier.
And happier. All told, the Cleveland Clinic team found a variety of health benefits associated with giving. Lower blood pressure, increased self-esteem, less depression, lower stress levels, longer life, and greater happiness. So those are some of the benefits. We know that it can help with health. We know that it's giving you an actual brain high, which people usually try to get from drugs. We know that it can make you happier in general, so helping others helps us. And this is all proven by like legit scientific research and MRI scans that can actually show the parts of the brain lighting up, which we know I love science.
Yes.
Now tell me the difference between kindness and niceness.
So, and this isn't, everyone should still be nice. Everyone should be nice. I'm at a site called kindnessgrowshere.com. And this is actually, from what I can tell, this is from a teacher who teaches her own students about being kind. And there's a really nice little chart on here. It's very simple. And it gives some signs of being nice, but also some signs of being kind. And one of the things I really like is that she says, kindness doesn't mean ignoring people when they do things that are unkind, wrong, ignorant, racist, or discriminatory. It doesn't mean keeping quiet when you disagree with someone about a moral issue, but it does mean treating people with respect. So essentially, I like that she's saying kindness is not allowing people to walk all over you. Where niceness can be that. I guess this is just because I found it very interesting, but also because if you're kind, it doesn't mean you're being a doormat. So if your argument is, I can't be kind or people will take advantage of me, you're wrong.
You can be kind and have boundaries.
Yep.
Or set standards.
Yes. So there's some warring bullet points here. One is nice and one is kind. And I'm just going to read through them very quickly. Again, this is from kindnessgrowshere.com. Being nice, the bullet point is never want to rock the boat. Kind is willing to make waves. Nice, most concerned with not upsetting someone. Kind, most concerned with doing what is right. Nice, afraid to speak up when they witness unkind behavior. Now remember, this is in a school, so they're encouraging kids to, tell on bullies or stand up for themselves or other kids or things like that. Kind is willing to speak up and take a stand. Nice is worried about being liked, and kind is worried about being kind, which I think is a really big bullet point. So, and I know those feel a little bit rudimentary because they're from a teacher who's talking to students, but truly just think about it.
Well, and if you think about it, the new trend or term, nice guys and nice girls are never nice guys and nice girls.
Exactly.
It's always the guy that is nice to you because he wants something from you.
Right.
Or says things like, I've been nice to you for like 3 weeks now. When are you going to go on a date with me?
Yep.
Like, they're always expecting something because they were nice to you. They weren't just nice to you because they're nice people.
Right. And I think that's the same, like, let's go with the painted brick story. So you paint your brick and I come over, and being nice is saying, wow, that's really pretty. I love that for you.
Thanks.
Being kind is saying, oh, I'm so glad you're happy with that. Just a heads up, sometimes they say when you paint brick, it doesn't get air to it, and then it can damage the brick. Mm-hmm. Not that that's necessarily
a basic example.
Yeah. But you don't need to go online and yell at somebody about it. They love it.
There's a big difference between nice and kind and being a jerk.
The videos that trigger me are, because I worked in a flooring store, are videos of people cleaning their grout with products that are actually just damaging the grout. No, your grout wasn't originally white. You've just bleached it with that product, and now it's ruined, and it will always get dirty. Mm-hmm. Every day it's going to get dirtier and dirtier. But I don't need to do that. I don't need to tell them that. Everyone in the comments is telling them that, and they've already done it. Maybe it would be kind of me to inform them, but everyone in the comments already has.
Right.
If I add on to it, it's almost cruel.
I read something on Reddit, of course, and I use it on my husband a lot, actually. Zach is an amazing man, but he is the type of guy that just says whatever comes to his brain, no matter how it will make people feel, whether it is nice or kind or unkind. Something I read on Reddit is there are questions you can ask yourself as to whether or not you need to input your thoughts on the topic. And it's things like, is it necessary? So is it necessary for you to tell a stranger on TikTok that they shouldn't use bleach on their grout? No.
Nope.
If it is necessary, is it necessary from you? Again, is it necessary coming from you? No. It's necessary coming from their flooring person, their house cleaner, their spouse,
Would that narrative change if I saw you doing it?
Absolutely. It is your responsibility to tell me if I'm messing up my floor because you are my flooring expert.
Hey, Bre, be careful using that product. It's been known to ruin grout. So just be careful, and now keep an eye on your grout.
And then the third question is it necessary right now?
Yeah.
So do you need to tell me that I'm using the wrong cleaner on my grout when you're at my house and I'm having a party and there's 30 people in my kitchen? Bre, did you use the wrong cleaner on this floor? You're going to ruin your grout.
That was really dumb.
Or, hey, next time I see you, let's talk about your floor. Yes. I have some suggestions for you.
Or when I come over and see that you painted that brick, you're really excited about it. Do I have to crush you? No.
No. Please don't. I might have just spent a whole day priming and taping and painting and getting everything ready, and I have people coming over and I'm super excited about it, and now you've popped my balloon.
Absolutely. And now you're anxious about the wall because now you know your brick's not breathing, and what happened, and how do you fix that? Can you take the paint off? Can you?
And now other people are going to show up and they're going to see it and they're going to know I did it wrong, or they're going to love it, and the whole time I'm going to be thinking, oh, thanks, but I have to redo it all because...
Right.
Yeah. I see it a lot, especially with myself being ADHD and having like rejection sensitivity dysphoria.
Sure.
It happened, and again, I'm going to use my husband, and this isn't anything speaking about who he is as a person. He's a great husband. But sometimes his timing is wrong, and I'll be super stoked about something. I'll come home like jazzed about a new idea I had, or like a new business I'm going to start, or whatever my impulsivity is telling me that week. And he'll be like, okay, but don't you think we have to get this room under control first?
But no, actually, Ryan has a habit of that as well. And not often, and we've worked through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have with Zach as well. It's about the timing.
Yeah.
And yes, I love those questions, actually. I think that we should make a little post with them.
Yes.
And put them up, because I think those are really pertinent.
Mm-hmm.
And they can assist you in being kind. So yes, you do not have to be a doormat to be kind. You don't even have to be a doormat to be nice. Being nice is just a good human trait. Being moral and being good. But I really did like
pleasant.
That. Yes. I also think that it's important to share some ways that you can be kind, because sometimes, especially if you're really feeling run down, you can really not know how to be kind to people.
Yeah.
I have a hard time sometimes because I don't leave my house much.
And then you get out in public and you're like, who are all these people? Why are they in my way?
I'm overwhelmed.
I should just stay at home.
One thing I liked on this website here is, I guess this isn't yet examples of how to be kind, but being kind is a movement. It's literally something we need to actively choose to do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do it all the time and you're great at it. But
I'm the kindest person you know.
I am the kindest person.
I'm always kind.
Yeah. I can't think of anything.
I
right
have
now.
no room to improve.
I'm perfect. Perfection and kindness all in one. But I like just a few, and I'm just going to use these headings. We don't want to be a 4-hour episode.
Yes, we do.
On this subject, maybe. But we don't want to stay here
I would like
for
to
4
stay
hours.
here for 4 more hours.
We're going to need to order food.
Right.
So kindness is a movement, and it is something that I feel like most people need to actively choose. Maybe you need to repeat those questions to yourself while you're thinking about commenting on someone's post or saying something to a friend that might hurt their feelings. Is it kind to insinuate that chair might not hold your friend? No,
it's not.
but you could say something more politely, or you could just not address it at all.
Or you could just not say it. Sometimes it's kind to just keep your mouth shut.
Yes, and that is hard, and that is an active choice some people have to make. So this says being kind is love, and loving is kind. And of course, we could probably get into a whole other episode of the fact that there are different kinds of love. And
we should do that.
Please don't save kindness for people only that you are attracted to, or because the people you're not attracted to probably need it more than the people who you are.
Don't base your kindness on
anything.
Yeah. Just be kind to everybody.
Just be kind.
I mean, I guess there are some people you don't have to be kind to.
The Hitlers.
Yeah.
Donner.
But probably you won't come in contact with them.
Right.
And if you do, you probably won't know that they're psychopaths.
If you come in contact with Hitler, I need to write that ghost story down.
Oh, I haven't told you about my time machine yet? That's next week.
I've really got to get around to telling you about my Hitler ghost.
Worst ghost ever.
Absolutely. The next heading on this page is that kindness is grace. And I think we've said that a couple times now, but it is. It's grace, it's forgiveness, it's
understanding.
It's understanding that maybe you and that person do not have the same taste in home decor, and that's fine. As long as it's not hurting you, it's okay.
Don't yuck my yum.
Yes. This is actually also a site where they teach you how to teach kindness.
Ooh.
And that, I think, can be really helpful for those of us with kids.
Because that's a hard trait to, like, if you don't just have a nice kid.
Yes.
How do you teach them? Like, Connor and I have a lot of talks, because he's at that age. Sorry I keep interrupting you, by the way.
You're fine.
Carly's at that age, too, where they don't, like, it's all about them.
Yes.
And so we have a lot of conversations about sometimes we do things we don't like to do because it makes the people we're with happy.
Yes.
And because we love them, we want them to be happy. So we do things to be nice.
Yeah, when we've taken a lot of shopping trips with Carly, and when she was about 5, 6-ish, she'd start questioning, why do we have to go in this store?
There's nothing for me in here.
And
why didn't you buy me anything here?
Exactly. And it was kid, because we're here as a group. We've already been into a store you wanted to go into, and we'll come across another store that you want to go to. But I'm not going to say no because I don't want to go in.
Right. And I'm going to be kind and go where you want to go.
Trust me, I do not want to spend 45 minutes in the toy aisle at Target.
Again. Just like last week.
But I'm probably gonna, because that's kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Practice is one of the ways we teach it by being kind to ourselves. And I'm not going to talk about that more because that was my first step. Practice. It literally says practice, practice, practice.
Because kids watch what we do.
Absolutely.
Your kid is going to watch how you handle or how you treat the cashier at the store.
Yep.
And the waitress at the restaurant.
Yep.
And the mail carrier when they come to the door.
Absolutely.
So, or even how you treat them or how you treat your spouse in front of them.
And the thing that's really hard to remember is that they're going to also catch those things that you say about people when those people aren't around.
Yeah, that has been hard having a kid. And we got, I don't want to say spoiled, but Connor had the speech delay. So Connor didn't talk for a long time. So we never really hit that stage where we had to be careful what we were saying because we were afraid he would repeat naughty words.
Right.
But now he's almost 8, and now we have to be careful because he might show up at Grandma's house and be like, oh, Grandma stinks just like you said she does.
Yes.
I don't think any of Connor's grandmas stink, by the way.
No, just an example. Exactly, yes. No, but
Sorry,
it is.
Mom.
And remembering that when you're mad. I mean, if I was mad at Ryan and I called my mom, which Ryan and I don't do this, but again, an example.
Right.
And I called my mom and I said, yeah, I was acting like a complete idiot. Can you believe he would be so stupid to do that? Now Carly has heard that and she might think, is my dad stupid? Or start absorbing that.
Can I call my dad stupid?
Yeah.
Can I call my friend stupid?
Can I start judging what he's doing because Mom called him stupid? Mm-hmm. No, Mom said it because she was mad. So even if that's not something you do, if you don't talk about people, you might still be talking about people.
Yes.
You might not realize it. So being kind and practicing always in everything. I think I've mentioned this before. I don't know if it made it in or not, but I try to make a practice of, it's really hard because sometimes I feel like celebrities, like you don't feel like they're people.
Right.
So
and they put themselves out there, so they should be able to take my criticism.
Exactly. So unless someone is purposely rage baiting,
right?
Which is a whole other.
They
topic.
Want you to talk bad about that.
But I have started to try, and I'm not always good at it, especially if I'm tired or cranky. When I start judging something, so when I start judging someone for painting the brick in their house, I try to dial it back and say, but you know what? I really love the door that they installed. I really love the color they painted their kitchen. Trying to divert my own brain from that lack of kindness.
That's such a good idea. To turn it into something good.
Yes.
So change the focus to, instead of, oh my God, I hate this rug that Jessica picked.
Yes.
Oh, but look at how it matches the orange on the walls and how it really ties this room together. That's a good, and it's a good brain twist.
Yes.
Bringing it from the negative to the positive.
And it hopefully will change my thought process from thinking something negative immediately to thinking more positively. I do it if I'm jealous of something. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody needs a yard that big. Mm-hmm. Or boats are such an expense. Why waste your money?
Yeah.
Well, am I actually concerned about their money? No. I'm real jealous because I love going on a boat. Actually, jet skis. How dare you buy a jet ski?
Those are dangerous and ugly and
I want
fast.
And so I'll change. It's sometimes even really stupid, like from what a waste of money to wow, but it has a really pretty stripe on it and it's sparkly. I like that.
Well, it's good for the self-talk too.
Yes.
Oh my God, my pants are too tight. I'm such a slob. What's wrong with me? Okay, well, my pants are too tight, but I look great in this color, or that means I can wear this dress instead that always makes me feel confident and comfortable.
Or, look at my eyes in this light. They sparkle. Whatever.
Yeah.
It sounds silly, and I'm working on it. I'm not always good at it, but I'm especially bad in a moment when, like, TikTok is getting very negative.
Because we tend to continue on with what is in front of us.
We're sponges even as adults, and we're absorbing those feelings.
It's really easy, and I catch Zach and I doing it a lot. Again, especially like when we've left someplace and we ran into somebody, like we get in the car and we're, oh my God, did you see blah, 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 blah.
Yes, yeah.
Or you get in a group of people and like one person comes up and it just dominoes into this, like everybody's complaining about a person or a thing or an event, and it just railroads, and it's awful.
Yes. And so if we can actively turn ourselves into, did you see what Bre was wearing when I ran into her at the gas station? Oh my gosh, Bre's new glasses are so cute.
Bre's so comfortable being able to go in public in her pajamas.
Don't say that to her. That's not kind. But no, it's just those small thought changes and understanding when you're being sucked into that negativity. Now, it's gonna happen, and how you deal with it after is your choice. Maybe you just want to let it go. Maybe sometimes you need that ranting session, and now you can move on with your life. Just practice. Just do what you can. Saying thank you is something that they say to help teach kindness. Some things to think about. I guess this is kind of cool. Some words that can go along with kindness and, I don't know, help frame your thought process on it. Benevolence, care, compassion, concern, friendliness, gentleness, which is something I think especially when we're dealing with children. Goodwill, grace, obviously, we've talked about that. Heart, hospitality, loving, neighborly, patience, philanthropic. Sweetness, sympathy, tenderness, thoughtfulness, tolerance, understanding, and unselfishness. Once again, that doesn't have to translate into being stomped on.
You don't have to be a doormat.
Not at all. But it is really, sometimes that can help you reframe your thought. Like, how do I be kind in a situation where I work remotely myself and I am far away from all of my coworkers. So that means I really can't just like show up at their houses with donuts or bring donuts to the office. So I can't really do that. But thinking in some of these other ways, helpfulness, maybe I can pick up a project that I can see someone is struggling with, or
send a message. Hey, I can tell that you're struggling today. Do you have anything you can send my way? Or just, hey, I'm thinking about you. It sounds like things are tough right now.
Exactly.
Let me know if you need anything.
Exactly. Do you need anybody to talk to? You need an ear, or do you just need us to understand that you're going through it? There's so many good ways that you can extend this, and I think that having a different list of words is really helpful.
I love that.
And then we can just go through some basics. I know it's easy for me to say easy right now that we can, there's a billion ways to be kind.
Sure.
But maybe just some ideas. I know you also have some, or had some. I'm not sure if you you still have them available.
Yes, I got distracted, but we'll come back to this too.
So one thing is just hugs. Writing people letters or cards, I think is really nice. It's so just nice to get something like that in the mail. Yeah. I used to have a coworker who would just write me notes sometimes or send flowers. So asking people, how can I help you, or do you need some help? I read once, don't ask people, do you need help? Ask specifically, can I bring you a meal on Tuesday?
Yes.
Or can I have DoorDash delivered for you next week? Or
so that you're not forcing that person to tell you or ask you for help.
A lot of times in a situation where they need the help, like in someone being in a hospital or someone having passed away, one, they might not want food.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a coworker who, after she would lose somebody, could barely eat.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen. Or two, their mental load is so much already.
And maybe they're not comfortable asking for
I
help,
wouldn't be.
or there's so much going on they don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite part about grocery delivery is when friends are having a hard time, I can send them groceries.
Yes.
Like, or even when COVID first hit and like my sister's family got COVID the first time, I bought a bunch of medicine and snacks and food and had it delivered to their house via shipped.
Some of the other things that I liked about just suggestions on being kind were just giving someone a compliment.
Mm-hmm. That you mean,
yes, of course. So one thing I like on here is listen and pay attention to what people are passionate about.
I love that.
I have a really hard time with my ADHD with not anticipating the next thing I am going to say because my brain is going very fast, and I'm not bragging because trust me, it sucks.
It surprises all of us what comes out of her mouth.
All the time. So I'm not even talking about the podcast anymore. I'm already downstairs eating dinner. So yeah, I mean, it's very hard for me sometimes to consider other people and really listen to what they're saying. I have to make a big effort, and it's not because I'm trying to be selfish. It's because my ADHD hates me.
It's not my fault.
That's not the point of this whole thing, but I really like that one because having someone mention something that my boss for my birthday last year bought me a silver D20 necklace.
That's right.
And I about died because
they paid attention to what you were passionate
hobbies,
about.
Yes, and the name of our podcast,
which is huge for a boss.
Huge. Helping out with a chore or an errand, saying I love you, or saying I love you because, and filling in the blank for no reason. Like, I just love you because you make me laugh, and you know me really well. That's so cool. Like, how good does that make you feel when someone says something like that?
Me too, Jessica.
Wait, excuse us. I have to put this on pause for us to just cry, okay?
We have to cry and hug now.
We can hug. I don't gross you out. I don't even smell. I took a bath.
Well, I smell bad.
You smell bad, so it doesn't matter. Another thing, like you've mentioned you've done, is sending a care package. You showed up the other day with flowers. You didn't even, and I know this sounds kind of weird to say, but you didn't even take time out of our days. You set them on our porch, and I know that sounds kind of weird because, of course, we would have loved to have seen you, but
we're all busy.
We're busy.
I had stuff to do that day, too.
You just wanted to do something nice, but not interrupt anything, and that's really cool, too. This one is sort of tough, making a conscious decision to use a kind voice.
Ooh, that's the other thing we're talking to Connor about a lot now, is tone and how you say things and how loud you say things all convey certain messages.
Yeah.
So when I say, hey, Connor, and you say, what?
Yes.
That is much different than, hey, Connor, what, Mom?
The always things, paying for someone's meal, paying for someone's coffee.
So I'm going to plug a really interesting website. It's called The Chive. Look for me. So that I can tip waitresses hundreds of dollars. No, it's called The Chive. And it's a very misogynistic website. A lot of it is like pretty women with big boobs and thin thighs, and it's fine. It is what it is.
I saw something the other day that said the thicker your thighs are, the more kittens you can sit on your lap. I might have posted that from our Dungeons.
You did. But it also has a lot of humor stuff. I think that's how Zach and I found it. It was just it was an app, and you'd like click on an album, and it would have like a bunch of different funny pictures all in a theme or whatever. But something they started doing apparently back in like 2014, if that's what I found, is both Chive charities and what they called RACs, or random acts of kindness. So they'd have some of their albums they would put out would be people submitting their random acts of kindness, and a lot of it was tipping a waitress 100%, or leaving a $100 bill on a car because you saw that their tire was flat. Ugh. Or, you know, putting a bag over a window because you saw they left their windows down and it was gonna rain. So I stayed with the website because they started doing that. But then they started their Chive Charities, and I even found the one that sold me on this, and I want to cry just looking at the pictures because great. I remember, as I'm going through Chive Charities website, I'm like I was scrolling for the whole time you were talking, trying to go back to the beginning because I couldn't remember the story, but I knew there was one story that really gets me, and it's this one. And this was one of their first ones, and it was done on accident. So this woman, her name is Melissa, she had lymphoma. She lost her ability to walk, I think, from a reaction to the chemo. And at the time, she was living in a 3rd floor walk-up apartment. There was no wheelchair access. Like, she was really struggling. So the Chive put her story on their app website, and what they were doing is they were starting Chive Charities, and they were going to donate money to her. It wasn't going to be, I don't have time to read it, but it wasn't going to be like enough to
build a house,
to build a ramp or anything, but it was something that would help her, some sort of, $1,000 or something. But while they wrote about her story, they kind of accidentally included a GoFundMe link that her sister had set up, and I'm going to cry.
I know, I'm going to cry too, just because you're going to cry.
And the Chive community found that little link. It was like
hidden in some sort of fine print.
And within hours, raised over $450,000 for her.
Holy cow.
So that she ended up having enough money to buy a house that was wheelchair and handicap accessible. And so it started this whole Chive Charities where they focused on the underdogs. They were looking for stories of people that couldn't get grants, and the people that weren't getting the money from the big organizations. Breast cancer is always the charity that people go to, and it's for the kids that need wheelchairs or the families that need handicap vans. It was always underdog stories. And I don't know if you saw me scrolling through these pages, but there are thousands of them now.
I legit thought you were looking at house listings, which I was like, I doodle every time you're talking because it helps me to actually focus on what you're saying. So I was like, oh yeah, she's probably just looking at houses, and it's like your other job, so.
Right. And here's she was being carried up to her 3rd floor apartment, and again, it was an accident. They were trying to raise a couple grand for her maybe, and they
get a better chair or
something. And this link hit, and this community just came out of nowhere. And I know it existed before that, but it did kind of hit at that same time that everybody was doing the pay it forward lines where you pay for the coffee behind you. Yes.
I guess one thing I did want to point out too, and not to invalidate the Chive or anything, because those are incredible, but it can be free to be kind.
Yes.
You don't
I did have a whole list of low cost, free options.
Truly giving someone a compliment, opening a door,
holding a door, putting carts back.
Let me tell you one really quick thing. As a larger person, we don't get seen very well. And I have had men hold doors for women in front of me and then walk away and shut the door. Not shut the door, slam the door in my face.
They pull it closed behind them, stare at you,
flipping me off. But yeah, they won't hold the door. It's like I don't exist. Let me tell you, and it sounds kind of pathetic, but how much it means when someone holds a door for me, because now I exist and I have a purpose and a point on the planet.
I hate that because society sucks, but I see it the same at the township. Just the older our senior community. If I happen to be out, I'm going to get the mail or I'm putting something on our board out front, I'll stop and I'll hold the door open for people, and they're like, "Oh, thank you, that's so nice." And this is what people are supposed to do.
Offer an arm to someone crossing the road. Offer, a mom who might have an unwieldy kid, could I help you put this bag into your car? I mean, be careful approaching a mom with a kid.
Can you give me your baby?
I'll take that.
I mean, if she's super stressed out, she might leave it with you.
She might run. But you do have to keep in mind society norms. I guess a woman could probably approach another woman and don't ask to hold the baby or mess with the child at all.
Don't kiss the baby.
The whole point. Be kind.
And
to yourself
believe
and everybody else.
that other people are doing their best.
Yes.
It is a lot easier to be kind to others if you don't approach situations thinking that other people are doing this just to piss you off or just to hurt you or just because they're a terrible person. Sometimes they're just trying. Most times they're really just trying their best.
Sometimes it's easy not to notice if you are being crappy, and also then try to change your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Turn that negativity into something different. It can be so stupid. I mean, you could be in front of the ugliest person alive inside and out, but think, well, their white socks are really clean. Mm-hmm. That is something.
Yes.
You might have to grasp at straws, but it'll get easier.
And that is how we retrain our brain.
Absolutely.
Because I think society does have us set up.
It's easier
to become those negative people.
Yeah.
Because while I was researching my topic for next week, I read a statistic that newspapers believe, and I don't know how recent this was, they have to have 25 to 40 deaths in a newspaper edition to get readers. I mean, probably not for like a small town like ours, but like New York City.
Yep.
If you're going to put a newspaper out, there has to be 25 to 50 deaths in it or people won't read it. And what does that say about our society?
It's awful.
I'd rather have a whole newspaper that was just good news.
Yes, I try to post good news on our Dungeons and Dopamine page.
I love that.
Once a day. Mm-hmm. I have not been doing it once a day lately, but I promise
maybe
we'll get better
back to
at
that. Someday life is going to calm down.
Be kind to yourself and everybody else.
Yes.
Just be kind. And animals.
Another, just as a sign off, promote your friends' passions. Whether it's our podcast or
your friend's small business.
You don't have to
do it if it's an MLM.
Right. And it doesn't, I'm not saying you have to go buy their product or go use them. But, sharing their stuff on Facebook or when you run into somebody and they need a realtor or whatever, sharing your friends' information.
So, yes, just be kind, be awesome, do good things.
Don't be a jerk.
Don't care if someone paints their brick.
Don't yuck my yum.
God, don't lick paint.
Stop eating lead.
Oh boy, I should let you start because I always start.
So this has been Dungeons and Dopamine Podcast.
True that. You can listen to us anywhere you stream podcasts and on YouTube, which I guess we don't really need to say because if you're hearing this, you're listening to us. But you can also find us on YouTube. Yay!
Yay! You can also support us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/dungeonsdopamine.
You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Insta, and Reddit. You
can reach out to us on any of those social medias or email us at dungeonsdopamine@yahoo.com.
I'm so sorry.
Jessica has to go to bed now.
It's time for bed. Dungeons and Dopamine is edited and published by Argyle Pigeon Productions. Sorry, I
was going to try to do it and I can't, so I'm glad
sorry.
you did.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
that's it.
Thanks.
We love you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.